Six chill, for real.
Judah. The scepter will never leave Judah. The scepter will never leave Judah. The scepter will never leave Judah. I'm Judah. Christ sprang out of Judah. King David was Judah. King Asa was Judah. Don't crowd me up, who gon' rouse me up? Alistair Crowley, your time is up. It's a big mess, I gotta clean it up. Esau, the end of my kingdom's up. On the eagle's neck, I'll press. I woke up from my rest. My rulership is up next. No vex. Judah.
Come, Shalom. This is the Israelite School of Biblical History and Practical Knowledge. We're here in Norfolk, Virginia at 2016 Granby Street. Reporting live on a Tuesday. So we have classes on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And that's from 7 to 9 p.m. And then we also have the other locations as well, which is what she's going to post up on the YouTube channel right now. We in Houston, San Antonio, and out here in VA. So we have those schools, and our class days on Houston will be up there as well. So, but we also have the Blog Talk Radio, which is with Mashaba. Those are Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. And you can check him out. And he as well is posting that. We also have the upcoming feast, which is the Feast of Weeks, and that's May 15 on a Saturday. So we'll be hosting that over here on a Saturday. And is that here at school?
Yeah, we're gonna do that here at the school.
Okay, and we're gonna have that here at the school as well. So, yeah, and then we have Israel Wear as well. So you can check us out on Israel Wear. We have the link being put up to the YouTube channel with isbspk.com/fringed up, and we have Hebrew Academy here out on in VA every Wednesday, and that's from 7 to 9 p.m. In Houston, they have as well the Hebrew Academy on Zoom on Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. Yes, sir. And then you can contact the priest as well, Priest Kazaki at 757-300-4047. And then as well, Priest Quadazab at 303-557-8979. And then we have the business as well too. So we have the Sweet Ambiance, and that's in Norfolk, Virginia on Monticello at MacArthur Mall. And they're open from 11 to 7. And we also have the website, and she's putting the image up for that, the sweetambiance.com, the Instagram, and the Facebook as well. So, yeah. And we have the donations as well too, and that'll be up on the YouTube channel as well. So, all the information. So, yes. And if anyone have any questions too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions? She didn't give you no time that you were coming in?
No, she know. I know. I just thought, cause, you want to end up let's slow down.
No, I'm not. Anybody got any questions? We'll open up with questions. See if anybody got any of that online. We're offline? So did they get any of that?
Oh yeah, no. It literally is connected and put it back on. It's just to the on.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's do like we always do. Open up with any questions. See if anybody has anything. And if not, we got a question class tonight. Somebody did ask a question. They wanted us to go over some scriptures on. Does anybody got any question in here?
Wow.
Yes.
I have something kind of simple.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out, I guess, who is the rock exactly?
It tells you right there. He was just a.
Was he a scribe?
No. It goes and tells you he was.
In the verse, in the prologue on the left side.
Yeah, it tells you there. You got it here. It tells you in the prologue. Did you watch? Read the prologue.
Come.
Come.
This Jesus was the son of Sirach, and grandchild of Jesus, of the same name with him. This man therefore lived in the latter times, after the people had been led away captive, and called home again, and almost after all the prophets. Now his grandfather Jesus, as he himself witnesseth, was a man of great diligence and wisdom among the Hebrews.
Right. Yeah. So it kind of goes through here and gives you a little information about him in the prologue.
Okay, I had it backwards. Okay, I got it.
Got you. All right. Any other questions? The what? That is the correct response. Con or la? Y'all got any questions? Wow, y'all talk. All right, now we're getting somewhere. It's a Tuesday. Anything online before we go into this topic?
Not yet.
Not yet? All right. I'll give them a few more seconds. Looks like they're pilling in here, huh?
We still getting them in 2016 right now.
Yeah. See if y'all got anything. Yes, ma'am.
Is being a judge and a priest the same thing?
Is being a judge?
Yeah, I see in Samuel it was saying like he was a judge.
Right.
Is that a prophet?
No, that's go to. I'll show you because it's one and the same. Right. It's he was a priest. Right. Samuel was a priest. You talking about judges or or Samuel?
Samuel.
Yeah. So Samuel was a priest. He was a judge. He was a prophet. He was all that.
Okay.
Because he came and remember, the Most High will come to him, and then he will go tell them and prophesy to them, right? But at the same time, he was a priest, right? And so at the same time, he was giving them direction in judgment, right? So yeah, that's what a priest does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go to that. It's in Corinthians. It's in Corinthians 2. 1 Corinthians 2 verse 15.
1 Corinthians 2 and verse 15.
Yeah.
But he that is spiritual judgeth all things.
So Samuel, being in the spirit of the Most High, he was a judge. So yeah, he was judging. You know, remember, a judge is the one that is discerning through the issues. When you go back to, it's in Exodus, and we touch on this a lot. Was it Exodus, or am I thinking? Let me see here. It's Deuteronomy. Go to Deuteronomy. So let's finish that real quick. I got all the scriptures popping in my head. Read that.
But he that is spiritual judgeth all things.
Right.
Yet he himself is judged of no man.
Right, because he has stepped up to the plate to go through all those characteristics to examine himself before so he won't have to go back being judged, right? So a judge is gonna examine. He's examining things, right? He's discerning between situations. Remember Solomon did that with the two women?
Yes.
He became a judge at that moment. He was a judge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was dicing out judgments, right? Go to Deuteronomy 1 verse 6. Read 1 and 15.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 15.
Uh-huh.
So I took the chief of your tribe, wise men,
Right.
and known, and made them heads over you,
Right.
captains over thousands,
Right.
and captains over 100s.
Right. So this is where we get the scripture. This is where we get ranked from. You see, we come up. You have some brothers that use the New Testament lingo, bishops, pastors, deacons, and then you have the brothers that use the Old Testament lingo, right? Officers, 50, 100,000, but it's all the same thing.
Okay.
It's just different genres, but meaning the same thing. Like you were going to be doing the same thing. These characteristics you will become, right? Go ahead.
And captains over 50, and captains over 10s.
Yeah, because back then they were literal, over this military, over these thousands of people, right? Millions of people. So Moses had to go and look for the ones that were going to be able to deal with these problems and issues, right? Go ahead.
And officers among your tribe.
Right, go ahead.
And I charged your judges at that time, saying, hear the clauses between your brethren.
You see that? So you will hear the causes between the brethren. Now, you see that Moses was first given the duty, but his stepfather was like, look, this is too much for you to handle. So go get these men, wise men, do it this way so you can deal, so you won't have to bear the weight of everything in the nation, right? So you had 50s officers, 110,000, and they themselves had to judge small matters. And then if they couldn't judge those smaller matters, then they would take them to Moses. You see that? So we're all judges, right? Because you're making judgment calls. You're making decisions with wisdom, a spiritual man, right? Go ahead.
And judge righteously between every man and his brother and the stranger that is with him.
You see that? They were going to judge righteous judgment. So a priest and a judge is kind of one and the same, because you're using the wisdom. You're using the wisdom to guide your judgment and to make decisions. Go ahead.
Ye shall not respect persons in judgment, but ye shall hear the small as well as the great.
Right. So you see that? They were dealing with the problems. They were dealing with the issues. Like we issues in here, right? You see these different councils we get in, then we got to make the judgment call according to the scriptures. Right. Go ahead.
Ye shall not be afraid of the face of men, for the judgment is the Most High.
Right. You see that? When it all comes back down to it is, now he's telling us how to judge. We can't be worried about how men feel. We got to just judge righteous judgment. Go ahead.
And the cause that is too hard for you,
right,
bring it unto me.
You see that? So what happened was you had the cats dealing with the easy issues, the young officers and leaders dealing with the easy issues, and if it was something they couldn't figure out in the spirit, they would go take it to Moses. You see that? So this is what Samuel was doing. Ezekiel was doing this. Jeremiah was doing it. Yeah, all the prophets, the prophets were doing these things. Now, back in those days, you had the prophet, and then you had the priests, right? But you still, in these moments of your priesthood, you still were going to judge. The prophet was still going to be a wise judge too and make those decisions. You see that?
So he was all the above.
Yeah, like us now. What do we got to do now? We got to be all of that, right? You're the priest. You're the we're the priest. We're prophesying, so we're prophets through the scriptures, right? We're judging because we're making different decisions based on the Spirit, dealing with different issues. So yeah, we're really literally embodying all these things that the Most High said we were to be. Watch, where you at?
This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 and verse 1. And this verse is basically going to simplify everything that you just expounded on, because it's going to show you how they instructed the people and what method did they use to instruct the people. Read that.
Ecclesiasticus 10 and verse 1. A wise judge.
Yeah, because a judge was Samuel, Matthew, Mark, Luke, Peter, Paul. All these men were judges, and then you can read the book of Judges, and you'll hear about the different judges in that book, in that chapter. Barak. There was different men in that book. Deborah, who was a prophetess, it was judging different situations. It was dealing with it. And then if you go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 44, W, yeah, it's gonna explain to you exactly what they were doing.
So read that again.
A wise judge will instruct his people.
Go ahead.
And the government of a prudent man is well ordered.
You see that? So the government of a prudent man. So when the Most High puts us in this stead to be the officers, 50s, or the bishops, the pastors, the deacons, you're going to judge through situations, right? And instruct the people, right? Where you at?
Ecclesiasticus chapter 44 and verse 4.
This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 44 and verse 4. Leaders of the people by their counsels, and by their knowledge.
Start from jump up to verse 1.
Verse 1.
Yeah, read down on verse 1.
Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us. The Lord hath wrought great glory by them through his great power from the beginning. Such as did bear rule in their kingdoms. Men renowned.
Right. So you see that it's not just, when it goes through this list, it wasn't just priests, it was kings. King David had to deal with judgment. Solomon had to deal with judgment. So this characteristic of judgment had to be on a spiritual man, because we were going to be dealing with a lot of things. So of course the priests were doing it, right? The ones that were set to do it, to be judges, would do it, right? A prophet would do it, right? Go ahead.
Men renowned for their power, giving counsel by their understanding,
right?
And declaring prophecies,
right?
Leaders of the people by their counsel, and by their knowledge of learning, meet for the people, wise and eloquent in their instruction. Right.
So you see that this was that he's talking about all these great men in the past. You're not just talking about the one brother or the one prophet or the one. It's talking about all these great men that did these great things in the past. And you can see in here the different characteristics that embodied these famous men. Go ahead.
Such as found out musical tunes and recited verses in writing.
Right. So, but that was it on that. Leaders of the people and their counsel. It says, and by their knowledge of learning, meet for the people. So that's what these different righteous men, priests, prophets, judges, leaders were going to do, when dealing with the wisdom of the Most High. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else online?
Yeah.
What we got?
First question, that we are asking, Isaiah 30 and 8.
Isaiah 30 and 8.
Would you break this down?
Isaiah 30 and 8. Let's go there. Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 8. Now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come, forever and ever.
Mm-hmm. Right. So when you go down to, you start from verse 1.
Verse 1.
When you start from verse 1, it's talking about Israel's wickedness, rebelliousness, stubbornness, right? And then he comes to this point in verse 8. He's saying, everything I done told you, you go write this down. Right? Where did he write it down at? In the book, in here. That we're reading about it. And we're reading about it in Isaiah 30. Like, in all the things that were written down from these prophets, that Israel was stubborn, rebellious, why we went into captivity, right? And the things we were doing. He said, now go write it down before. So you got to read it from verse 1 to kind of get the context of what's going on here. So he's like, okay, Israel, y'all are wicked, stubborn, rebellious, stiff-necked. You put your trust in Egypt. You know what I mean? Go write this down, Isaiah, right? Go write this down. That way it can be seen. It can be written what Israel have done and how they are. Go ahead. It says, noted in the book,
that this is a rebellious people.
Right, you see that? So what is he writing down? He's writing down the record of Israel being stubborn, rebellious, and stiff-necked. Once again, that's the Bible, right? Because not only did he write here, he wrote through the whole book, right? They scribed the whole book. Him, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, all these men, they wrote down these things. Go ahead. What?
He's asking what are the tables?
It's the Bible. It's the Bible. Because back then it probably was something that they scribed on, right? But remember, these tablets, or wherever they scribed it on, end up coming back to be what? The Bible. So that was just where they actually scribed the actual, where Isaiah might have scribed these words on originally. Because we know it wasn't on this. It was on the original scrolls, right? Or tablets. All right? So that's all that's talking about. Yeah. Was that it?
And the next question.
Mm-hmm.
How can strongholds from the world be broken and destroyed, whether it be people, substances, or material items?
Who asked that question?
Sharab
Bayana. Okay, so read it again.
How can strongholds from the world be broken and destroyed, whether it be people, substances, or material items?
Go to 2 Corinthians 10. How can strongholds be broken, whether people, substances, or material items? Before we read this, the first thing that has to be, in order for you to break down strongholds, what's the first thing that has to be there? Let's see who's on point. What? Humility. Close. You're right. What else? You're right, but that's not... It's like you're right there. What's the first thing? If I want to break down a stronghold or something that got a real hold on me, what's the first thing that has to be in me to even go about to do that? LaShawn.
The will.
The will. The will. There's no way you can go about to break these strongholds if you don't want to. We can sit here with all this all day. The Most High said, if you're stubborn, rebellious, stiff-necked, hard-headed, it doesn't matter how I teach, I can dance, jump up, fly, flip around. If it ain't in your desire, it doesn't matter. So that's the first thing. And if I didn't tell you that first, it wouldn't help you. You got a lot of people that want to destroy things about them, but they got to have the will. Now, that being said, where am I going? Karazazah.
2 Corinthians 10 and 4.
No. No. That being said, you're here with us, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what's the first thing that has to come about is the will, right? We got that out. LaShawn exquisitely spoke those words, right? So what's the scripture we're going to then? Allison, I feel you got it back there. That's why I'm not calling on you. I'm going to put these brothers on the spot because these questions, come on. A lot of these questions, we get these questions so much that you brothers supposed to be quick. If Allison got it, is it in 2 Corinthians, Alice? Yeah, she already got it. So if she got it, then y'all supposed to have this. What?
10 and 6.
2 Corinthians what?
10 and 6.
No. Nope. Where is it at, Allison? 2 Corinthians 8 and 12. Yeah. Sis, come on and sit up here, sis. I'm just joking. See, I got to start getting at y'all brothers because y'all should be picking up on this. This is basic. Basic question. Right? And I already gave it all away. I gave it away. So go there, 2 Corinthians 8.
12.
And start at verse 11.
2 Corinthians 8 and verse 11.
Now y'all know where we're going. Let's establish the point through more than one precept proving that. Right? Con. So you should be already on the next scripture that goes with this scripture. That's going to... Ari already got it. So nobody even reached for anything. He already got it. Con. And if it's wrong, I'm going to let y'all know it's wrong, alright? But go ahead and read that. 2 Corinthians 8 and 11.
2 Corinthians 8 and verse 11.
Go ahead.
Now therefore, perform the doing of it.
Go ahead.
That as there was a readiness to will.
Right. That there was a readiness to will. So the sister asks how to break down these strongholds of the flesh, right? Desires and things of that nature. First, there got to be a readiness and a will. You see that? A lot of people come to the truth for knowledge. So when it comes to actually breaking down the things that are holding them back to move forward, they're not really ready for that. They come to the truth for Christ is black. We're going to be over Esau. You know what I mean? Like I always say, they're going to lick between your toes, right? They come for that, right? We're going to rule the world. You're going to be angels flying and, you know what I mean, diving into the deep seas like the angels coming out of the water, the UFOs. You want to hear that. But when you hear you got demons on you because your lust or your pride, it's like, then there's a reluctancy because you don't want, there's really not a readiness there. But for the ones that are ready, they're sitting and saying, God, that's how I am. I got that demon on me. Now I see how to break it. So there got to be a readiness to will. Go ahead.
So there may be a performance also out of that which he has.
You see that? So there's a performance out of that which you have. What do you mean what you have? What you have in your heart. When you got this in your heart, then you will see the performance. So now we can actually judge a person by his fruit, by her fruit. You see, all that, well, you don't know what's in my heart. Yeah, I do, because I can see it from your actions. Because you'll be performing the readiness that is the will that's in you. If you're not performing, if you're not doing it, there's no will. If you're doing opposite, you can't say, well, I want to do good. Well, then let's set a plan up for you to do it. And then you execute that plan. A lot of times people don't want to execute the plan. So this is the first step, a readiness to will. Go ahead.
For if there be first a willing mind.
So if there first be a what?
Willing mind.
You see that? So the Bible can't do nothing for you if there ain't a willing mind. I don't care how many classes you get, how many YouTubes you look at. If you ain't got a willing mind, the Bible is just going to be knowledge to you. Information. That's it.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah. Deep. Oh, that's deep, man. But I'm going to go back and smoke that blunt. Oh, man, that's deep, man. But I'm going to go back and just on the point of what the sister said, she asked, how do you cast down these strongholds? It be the blunt. It be sex. It be money. Right? It be their own pride. Right? Their own way. And they're like, nah. And we're going to get to what is a stronghold. We're going to get to what is a stronghold because she brought it up. But in order for us to get these things broken down, you got to have a willing heart. You got to have a willing mind. Go ahead.
It is accepted according to that a man has, and not according to that he hath not.
And not what?
According to that he hath not.
And not according to what?
That he hath not.
You see that? So what does that mean, Karatazar?
It's according to what your will is if you want to do it, not according to what you don't want to do.
Read it again.
For if there first be a willing mind, it is accepted according to that a man hath.
Right? So you have it, because the Most High, He gave you the will. Everybody got the will. Right? You got the choice. Everybody got the choice, I should say. But do you want to apply that choice? Do you want to move on the will that's in you? Right? How do we know? So if they got to move off the will, right? If they got to move off this will, them willing to do something, to cast down these imagination, right? And these strongholds, right? What has to be first in their mind? The Bible. I said that one. You can't use that one. All right, so come on. What else? What else? What?
Acceptance.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning they gotta accept them knowing that they have to change, or the process of pulling down the stronghold or conquering the stronghold.
Right. I like that. They have to say it again.
So they have to first accept it. Like, you got to be willing to accept the process it takes to pull down the stronghold before it can be pulled down. Going along with the willing mind, it has to be willing.
Okay, what else? Yeah, I'm a winner.
You have to acknowledge that you're not right and that something needs to change.
Right. You have to acknowledge that something is not.
I had two exes.
No, you did not. No, you didn't have to. She just gave you the two.
That one in James 5.
I'm just messing with it. We're going to war up here. No, I want y'all to be on point. These are like basic questions. You know what I mean? Read on.
And not according to that we have not.
Right. So the Most High doesn't want nothing that you don't have. You got it inside you. Right? You got it in you. But are you going to pull it out of you? Are you going to put the Most High's desire over your desire? And that's where the will comes in. Right? Is that not true? Like, do you want to do what the Most High says as opposed to what you said? So you're not going to be able, we're not even going to get down to this wall, right? We got to cast down this wall. This wall's a stronghold. It's in front of us. I don't want to get up to do it. The wall's still there. I'm tired. I'm lazy. Right? I can't cast down that stronghold because I'm lazy-minded. So before we even talk about casting down strongholds, you got to have the desire to do it. There got to be a willing heart. So, and it's not, the Most High is not asking you something that you don't have, or for something you don't have. He's asking you what you have, right? It can be brothers with arms, legs, heads, full bodies, and everything. They can get up, get the hammer, and crush this wall down easily. But I'm too tired. Why I got to do that now? Right? Why I got to be what you said? Psst, I didn't come here for that. It could be all the excuses that are holding them back. Go ahead.
For I mean, not that other things.
Go from there. Go to Psalms. Psalms 51 and 3.
Psalms 51 and verse 3. For I acknowledge my transgression.
Right. So just like the sister said, she said it right on point. I acknowledge my transgression. So you got to acknowledge what you're doing is wrong. Acknowledgement is the first point. Right? What the scriptures say the Christians always pull, right? If you confess with your mouth, that's true. Confession is acknowledging, right? Then you can go ahead and put forth the repentance after that, right? But if there ain't no will there, you ain't trying to repent, you ain't trying to change, you ain't trying to put off the old man, you ain't trying to do none of that. So this is the first step that got to be there. Now, for whoever asks the question, that's what you got to ask the individual if you're asking for, or yourself. Am I really ready to cast down the stronghold? Because that's why it's called stronghold, because it has a strong hold on you. More than the spirit, more than the wisdom, more than the word. Right? You all know, how many of y'all came in knowing the truth, but you still was smoking? Right. So, but why? Why were you still smoking when you knew the truth? Why weren't willing to change?
Not yet. I came in, I knew it was wrong, but I wasn't willing to change that yet.
Right. Why? Why weren't you willing to stop? Why, sis? LaShawn?
Well, I was going to say the same thing. I just wasn't ready.
You were ready, right? Right. Well, but you believed in the Most High. Why you didn't do it? You knew it was wrong, right? Well, why you didn't do it?
We wanted to do what we wanted to do.
You see that? It had a strong hold on you.
Right.
That strong desire to do what thing in the flesh more than the spirit. You see? That's why it's called a stronghold.
That was so simple.
Yeah, it is that simple. Right? So this is what we got to see, why a lot of time. And it's so simple that when we go to brothers and sisters and be like, you're off. It's so simple to say, you know what? You're right, I just don't want to stop right now. Why? Because this thing has a pull on me. It does got a pull on you, but who do you desire more? You see? And that's supposed to be the spark, like, damn, who do I desire more? Well, there's blunt. I desire that more right now. But that blunt, so you're saying that blunt is more important than the Creator, than the Most High and what He wants. So, you see, that's where the spark's supposed to kick in. But usually it's like, you're attacking me, right? You don't understand me. You're coming with all the excuses instead of just saying, you know what? Nah, I got spirits on me that don't want me to cast down these strongholds. You see that? My lust is stronger than the Spirit of the Lord. Then we can get into that subject of maybe you're not studying. Maybe you're not learning. Maybe you're surrounding yourself by those people. Because it'd be all those other little essential elements that's helping those things keep the hooks in you, right? And keep pulling you to the dark side, right? You got the buddy you hanging around with. You got to cut him off. Okay. You see that? It could be those things, right? So, read that one more time.
For I acknowledge my transgression.
Go ahead.
And my sin is ever before me.
You see that? So your sin got to be in front of you to be able to, for you to come back and say, damn, this is really ripping me up. You see, this is wrong. Like, I'm looking at it right here. It's tearing me down. What was the thing about the prodigal son that made him turn around? He realized he was in the mire. He realized that it was better with his father. Right? So, once again...
He thought the grass was greener on the other side, but the grass that he was standing in was mire.
Right, he was in the mire. So, he didn't realize, or he had to realize, okay, this is destroying me. Now, when does a person realize that? And this is where we go back. There's so many points on this, but this is why we say you can't change nobody. Because it's the desire in that individual of them saying, you know what, I'm done with this. This is not more important than the spirit. You see? But we get the blowback. Because we're the teachers, right? We're the priests. So the blowback comes to us like, I'm fighting. So they think, oh, I'm fighting you, instead of saying, I'm fighting the Most High. I had to throw that in there because that's relevant to the subject. I got to throw that in there. What's that?
Too busy trying to hide it when we're really not hiding it.
No, not at all. You can smell it on y'all.
You know, it's just you're trying to hide it, but you can't hide it from God.
No. You can hide it from man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't know. We you know what I mean? But we don't know, but we do.
Yeah, that's why we're so agitated. You know, we're too busy trying to, combat you because I guess we're trying to convince ourselves that we're not, but we really messed up. Mine was cigarettes.
See?
Not
Who is this sister? Anoint her.
So mine was cigarettes. That was my stronghold. But
Right.
I stayed hiding it. I wasn't hiding nothing.
Right, you were hiding it from man, but see, and really, from hiding it from man, you weren't able to get the medicine that man is here to give you. But as far as like covering it up, it was the Most High's eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. So you weren't hiding it. But there's a maturity in that. You see how kids do that. Think, oh, because mom and dad don't see me. But that was supposed to be for kids. When you grew up and put away childish things, you're supposed to see like, this brother's not here, this sister's not here, but the Most High sees what the hell I'm doing in the darkness. You see, and those elements were supposed to check you. You see? So it's beautiful though when you mature and you realize these points, because it's like now you can apply all those points in different perspectives and be able to look at yourself in the mirror in a lot of things. That's why it comes back and says, let a man examine himself. And we've been talking about that for the last week. That if you're examining yourself, it says if you judge yourself, you're not judge of no man. Because why? You're already checking yourself. So all you're doing when the class comes out is, that's true.
That's me.
You're like, that's true. Like, I don't got no argument because I've been already examining myself and telling myself, you know what? I need to work on that. I'm trash over here. I'm trash over there. I don't want to veer too far into the depths of this subject because you can, into the different elements of the things that are gonna cast down the strongholds, because that's what it is. Everything we're talking about is going to bring down these strongholds, right? Acknowledgement and knowing you messed up, right? You got something to say? I thought you were going to say something. All right, go ahead, read on.
And my sin is ever before you.
Right, so your sins got to be ever before you. Go ahead.
Against thee, thee only, have I sinned.
So what is he saying here? Karatza, go ahead.
That he's doing that against the Most High, not nobody else.
Yeah, like I can hide all I want. I can hide all I want from man, but that don't mean nothing. You see that? Y'all see that? Yeah, I can hide all I want from Kazaki. We don't see everything. All right, I don't see everything. You know what I mean? Brothers don't see everything. Like I said, you can have brothers doing it. We have brothers. It comes out over time. That's why you can't blame everything on the leadership. Why? Because a cat can be doing some wickedness on the we don't know about. Now, when we know about it, and then we let it slide, that's the problem. But if you're creeping after class and doing things on the low, and we don't know, It's gonna come out. You see? So you can't blame everything on the camp leaders. Why? Unless they know. Unless it's right there in front of everybody's face to say, yeah, you don't see this? You see that? But if you don't know and you hiding it, which a lot of people do, that's on them. You see? Go ahead. Jump from there. Go to Psalms 32. Psalms 32 and 5. Go to
Psalms 32 verse 5.
So on the question, what we're doing is just establishing this point that there has to be first a willing mind. So it's got to be a will in you to destroy those strongholds. It's got to be a will in you to do it. So before we even get into the different ways to do it, you got to have the desire to break down the demons. You see? Go ahead.
Psalms chapter 32 and verse 5.
Go ahead.
I acknowledge my sin.
You see? What do you got to do?
I acknowledge my sin.
Go ahead.
Unto thee.
Go ahead.
And my iniquity have I not hid.
Wait, read that part again.
And my iniquity have I not hid.
And my iniquity have I not hid. You see that? What is the problem with a lot of Israel? You want to get rid of the demons, but you want to what? You want to hide them all the time, right? Yeah. Have I not hid? And that's the thing. You're hiding them, and the medicine man is right there in front of you. Once again, it's the most simplest analogy. You go to the doctor. You know you got some wrong pus coming out your toe. Oh, well, what's wrong with you? Let's play the guessing game. You guess.
Okay.
Like, who does that? Doctor, I want you to take a long shot in the dark. Look at me. What's the problem? No, you go to the doctor and say, man, I got pus coming out of my toe. Right? I got gangrene growing here. You see that? But that's not how people look at it when pertaining to their spirit. Why? What's another why? Why? Why don't they? Pride, you said earlier. What?
They don't want to be changed.
They don't want to be changed. What else?
Sometimes they fear that they be too scared to try to overcome it. It may seem like it'll be a long task or something. That
I like that. It'll be a long haul.
Yeah, and they just give up and like, nah, it's gonna be.
That like this is, wow, that is beautiful. You know why? Because that's how garbage people do. That's how our garbage mind does it. You know, this might take too long of a work. It's just easier doing what I already know how to do. I got to go through all these problems to fix this. And that's why people are like, nah, you don't want to deal with brotherhood. You don't want to deal with a body, because dealing with people brings more problems. But the more problems brings more refinement because of the solutions that fix the problems. That's the purging. That's the chosen in the furnace of adversity. So it's a solution. Yeah, the problems are going to come, right? You're going to leave the burden of the world, take on the burden of Christ. And he said you got to be afflicted, you got to mourn, you got to catch hell for him. It's like, well, I'm already catching hell. So you want me to leave the world to go catch hell with you. That's what he's saying. Does that even make sense? It totally does. It totally makes sense. The sense is this, that they're doing it for a corruptible crown, you're doing it for an incorruptible.
Right.
But is that our first mind? Our first mind is what you said, LaShawn. It's like, I don't want to have to go through all this process. But for your soul, what would you do? You see that? That's the $1 million question, right? What if you gain the whole world and lose your soul? So what you're doing is for your soul. How much do you cherish that more? Right? So read that one more time.
I acknowledge my sin unto thee,
right,
and mine iniquity have I not hid.
And that's how you're going to break down these strongholds. You got to get help. You got to let brothers and sisters tell you. You know what I mean? Sisters, this is your problem. Every time you get the problem, you want to what? Twist. You want to, oh, well, the sister said this. And it's like, you're a child. You're trying to be a child about this. Oh, the brother said this. It's like, I think he don't like me. Like, this ain't got nothing to do with that. I think she don't like me. Hey, do you think this, baby? She go back to the husband. Do you think I dress like this? I act like this? It's like, you didn't hear what the wisdom was? But the problem is that you got people always trying to get out of breaking down those different strongholds. What?
I was just going to say, everybody's always on the defense.
Everybody, oh man.
Everybody's
on the defense. Why? Because they want to put up this fake persona.
That you're not this individual that you're saying I am, when in all actuality, you are.
You are, because your works, your actions show forth what you are. You see that? And then we see it as bright as day. I remember, you know how many times I asked a brother, I'm like, hey, are you smoking? No, It's like, why can't you just be straight up? Like, yeah, it's pulling me. You know what I mean? You know how many brothers, I remember there was an older brother in Houston. He used to come to class every Sabbath. But he would always, the subject would always come back up about him smoking. But every time we go through the scriptures, it's like, it would be ripping into him to where it's like, but it didn't come up on purpose. It just came up. He would be bringing it up and telling us about how he still got this pulling on him. But after a while, he stopped showing up. Why? Because he was sick and tired of hearing probably, this is the way to overcome it. What?
Are too lazy to change.
Too lazy to change. A slothful spirit. You're like, you're just too lazy to get up and break down that wall. So go from there. You finished that?
Nah.
Go ahead.
I said, I will confess my transgressions unto the Lord.
Go ahead.
And thou forgavest their iniquity.
See, that's when you can be healed. That's when you can start working on that wall little by little. Nobody's going to just run through that wall. I'm thinking of a brick wall, a stronghold, right? To where they stand on the tower and they look for the enemies. But in this case, it's a wicked wall. And it's looking for the spirit coming a mile away. And he's shooting the spirit down. Boom, 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 boom. As it gets closer to break down this wall and overcome. Right? So we have to see how to go about to do this. That's why it comes back and says, we're going to go there. I'm not going to quote it. Go ahead. Did you finish that?
Nah.
Go ahead.
And thou forgavest the iniquity of my sin.
Right. You see that? Go to 38 and 18.
38 and verse 18.
Right.
For I will desire my iniquity. I will declare my iniquity.
I will what?
Declare my iniquity.
Right. So I want the sister to know we're still on the same point. But what we're establishing in this point is that in order for you to break down strongholds, the first thing is what? You got to have a willing heart. You got to have a desire to, right? You got to be wanting to battle those demons. Go ahead.
I will declare my iniquity.
Go ahead.
I will be sorry for my sin.
You see that? So you got to have a sorrow for your sins. You see that? So watch. Go to 2 Corinthians 10 and 4.
2 Corinthians 10 and verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty to the Most High, to the pulling down of strongholds.
So, how do you pull down the strongholds, right? How do you attack them? Well, it's just not quoting the scripture and knowing it. Oh, the weapons of our warfare. Well, what are the weapons? How do we use the weapons? Right? That's what we're talking about. How do we go about to do that? Right? W.I., go ahead.
Casting down imagination.
So read it again.
Casting down.
Read it from the top. Read it again.
For the weapons of our warfare.
So what are the weapons? W.I., what are the weapons? What are the weapons we using to cast down? Give me one. Don't name them all off. What?
The Bible.
The Bible. Good one. Good start. We're in the Bible, right? Because the Bible is the case. When you open up that case, what weapons are in this case that you're going to be able to pull down the strongholds? What?
I was going to say, just like within that willing mindset, the roadblocks that you set to prevent yourself to go down that path.
Good. We're not there yet. We're going to get there. You're right, though. What? What are the weapons?
Knowledge.
The weapons in the case.
Knowledge.
Okay, it's knowledge. What else? What?
The willing mind.
We said that. What else?
The commandments.
The knowledge, the commandments, the Bible. Yee! We on that point. What are the weapons? What?
The brothers and sisters around us.
Okay, good. The brothers and sisters around you, let's say correction, right? Correction is a weapon, right? I don't believe nobody's going to name none of the armor. Nobody's going to name none of the armor in the Bible. What's that? Godly sorrow. We're going to go there. You be paying attention. I see you. Yeah. Confession. We got that. Confess, willy mind, the Bible. What?
Say the boots of the gospel.
The what?
The boots of the gospel.
What is that?
Part of your armor in Ephesians.
Part of your armor, right? The boots, the sword, the shield of faith, the sword of truth, the righteous breastplate. Let's go there real quick. Damn, I thought y'all were gonna have that one. I thought that was gonna be popping right there. Maybe I'm tripping, but this is. Let's go there real quick. Maybe we haven't been there enough. So go to
Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 14.
Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 14.
Stand
therefore, having your loins girded about with truth.
Go ahead.
And having on.
Start. You want to start at 13.
13. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God.
Right. So these are the weapons and the shields and the things that are going to protect us, right? And the things that we're going to use to chisel away these different strongholds. Go ahead.
That ye may be able to withstand in the evil day.
Go ahead.
And having done all to stand.
Now, a lot of people think, well, the evil day is like the last days. It's like Satan's going to come, 7 heads and 10 horns. No, the evil day is literally when you got demons on you. When you got that jack off spirit and you want to what? You want to jack off, right? And you home alone. You got your tissue. You got your porn, right? You got your lotion. Huh?
Don John.
Yeah, Don John, huh? You got demons on you, right? And what happens? No, you think nobody's watching, nobody's seeing, right?
No, that's not how it starts. It starts.
Hold on. Stop. Yeah, they get it. Y'all get the point, right? That it's those times. That's when Satan is gonna try to devour your conscience at that moment, right? And it's the lust spirit. It's what the sister's asking. It's the lust. It's the pride. It's the money. It's the job. This is more important. At this moment, my lust is more important than the Bible at this point. Have no other gods before me. I'm throwing that out the window. This lust right now, it got the power. You right? This pride right now, it got the power right now. I know my husband's correcting me, but I'm so burnt. I'm burning up inside so much. Bible out the window. 1 Peter 1, blah. You know what I mean? Proverbs 31, get that out of here. Ephesians 5, I'm not hearing that. Right now, my stronghold is my mouth, and it's going to be all over this cat because I'm not hearing the Bible right now. That at that moment is when your weapons, your shields, your utensils come into play. Right? So go ahead.
Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth.
Right, but the first thing is you got to have your girdle on. Your girdle covers your midsection, your paps, right? And your vital organs.
That's right.
You see? So, essential element, you got to have the word of truth. If you ain't studying, somebody said it earlier, if you ain't studying, you're not going to have the tool to overcome your strongholds. It don't matter what the hell you say. 3 days, if you make it to the 3 days or 4 days of class, right? That ain't going to help. This is just a little bit. You need, some of brothers and sisters need penicillin daily. You know what I mean? They need that amoxicillin daily, right? They need to constantly put the peroxide and heal the wounds daily. So no, it got to be you at home, putting on the girdle, the word of truth. Go ahead.
And having on the breastplate of righteousness.
Right, but you got to be girded with truth and righteousness. What that mean? Your conscience got to be, in your conscience, your mold, right, has to be geared towards, am I keeping the laws and the commandments if I do this? Am I keeping the laws and the commandments I do this? That's what establishes righteousness in your conscience. You see? So you're not going to cast down these demons no other way, because in that moment you succumb to them. You know what I mean? And it's an awareness, though. I said it earlier. It's an awareness, sis. You brought it out perfectly, because I look at, when dealing with my ribs and certain brothers and sisters, you can see the switch of like disgruntled, disrespectful, hard-head, stubborn, stiff-necked, rebellious, and something just switched and a light came on, and they started saying, nah, I'm done with all that. And they started moving. It's like what you're saying, LaShawn. It's like your mind is not clicking over to start to see, okay, all the games was for nothing. All the games needed to stop. But when did it happen? When something happened to that individual. For you, it didn't have to be another ass whooping, but it might happen to this other individual. They got to get dragged through the mud, right? They got to be in a situation with their guns in their face. They got to get somebody murdered close to them, right? Or it got to be the brother that his rib and his kids leave, right? Then he wakes up to understand how to please the Most High. It's things like that sometimes has to happen, right? The weapons are these utensils in Ephesians. Go ahead, read on.
And having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace.
Right, your feet, meaning you're standing on the gospel. Your foundation is the word. You see why you can't be here for man? You see why you can't be here to play games? You can't be here to just to men please, husband please. And I know it's kind of simultaneous. You got to please your husband to please the Lord, but still your conscience got to be to the Most High first, or none of that's going to go into play anyway. So you pleasing the Most High, you're pleasing your husband, right? You're dealing right with the brothers. You're a real brother, and you're pleasing the Most High. You see that? It all goes together. What's that, LaShawn?
When you said the weapons, I found one. What about the be sober and be vigilant?
Right.
Peter's
We'll go there. We'll go there. But let us get through this, because that's our point. Go ahead.
Above all, taking the shield of faith.
Right. See, taking the shield of what?
Faith.
Because you're not going to get through none of this. You're not going to get through none of this if you're not ready to jump off the bridge into faith and dive off. Like, all this sounds good, but if you like reluctant, you know what I mean? You don't want to step over the bridge with the blindfold on and say, no, the Most High got me. None of this matters. The shield, the word, nothing. Why? Because Israel's a faithless people. They're a faithless nation. So you see the tools. So let's bring it back. And if you want to break down these different strongholds, you got to have the utensils to start doing that. You got battles in front of you, but you got to have the tools to break them down. Y'all get that? Go ahead, read on.
Wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked.
Right. You see? What you are at? What verse you at?
I'm at 17 now.
17. Jump over to 11 real quick, and then we'll go back.
Up to verse 11.
Jump to verse 11. 6 and 11.
Verse 11. Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
You see? So the strongholds are the devil. It's Satan. It's the lie you told yourself. It's the lie you believe from TV, media, your mama, your daddy. That's the stronghold. It's anything that got your hooks in you that will not let you run into the spirit. Right? It's holding you back. Right? So what is it? What is holding you back? Is it pride? Is it doubt? Is it jealousy? Is it hatred? Is it slothfulness? Right? What is it? Have you examined yourself? You know what I mean? If you examine yourself, you're supposed to know this is my weakness. And then you've been taught how to go in to the medicine cabinet and get what you need. You see that? And if you don't know how to get what you need, or you know how to get part, then you got brothers and sisters to help you with more medicine. Yeah. You call the physician. You call the elders. It says they're what? They will pray over you. You see that? So this is how you break down these strongholds. Go ahead.
We'll jump down
12,
to
verse 12.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
Right. Is the reality set in that what you're dealing with is literally demonic forces? Why do you feel like you can't win? Because that's Satan. Why do you feel like you can't overcome this? Because that's the devil. Right? You put the devil, the lie, before the truth. Go ahead.
But against principalities.
Right.
Against power.
Right.
Against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
Go ahead.
Against spiritual wickedness in high places.
And I know you probably don't believe it. It's probably like you think it's a fable, fairy tale, but there's literally wicked people that are praying daily against the righteous. There's wicked people that do blood sacrifices against the righteous. Right, because they got their agenda. How do I know? Because it said it. So there's spiritual wickedness, rulers that are doing these sacrifices to Satan to prevent the righteous from taking their authority so we can run this earth. See, but people don't snap to that. You get in the little soap opera moment and you say, well, me arguing with my husband, that's stopping the evolution of the 144,000? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because the whole earth waited on the manifestation of the sons of God. So it's waiting on us to get it together. So everything is to stop you from breaking down these strongholds. What? What's up?
I was going to say, because it's not literally allegory sometimes. Sometimes it's literal, like you're saying.
Right.
So, just because I looked at the word allegory.
Right. Right. Now, why were you bringing that out, though? Pertaining to what point?
Because pertaining to the point of, like, you're saying, like, it's legitimately sometimes it is, it's not a hidden meaning. It's like, that's literally what they're doing. They're praying to sacrifice.
Yeah.
They're
right.
doing those wicked things. It's not like it's a fable or a fairy tale, like you said.
Right.
But they're literally doing those things.
They're literally doing these things to hold us back from what we're supposed to be being, right?
Right.
So jump back to 2 Corinthians 10. Go back to 2 Corinthians 10 and verse 4. Read it again.
2 Corinthians 10 and verse 4.
Uh-huh.
For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
Right. So you see these weapons are not carnal. You see that? So no, they're not physical weapons. They're spiritual weapons. They're mental weapons, right? That are going to do these things and be able to cast down these imaginations. It said the sword, right? Okay. Go to, what is it? Ecclesiasticus 39. Go to Ecclesiasticus 39 and verse 1.
This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof.
So, how do you cast down those imaginations? Are you meditating on the gospel? Are you woo-sighing in the spirit? Forget all that. Clear your mind. Just clear it. Let nothing come in. Like, that's bull crap. Your mind is supposed to be occupied with the gospel. There ain't like, oh, what are you thinking about? Nothing. I'm in a space of nothingness. No, that's supposed to be Psalms, Proverbs, wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Nothingness is not going to help you. You got to be meditating on the law. Go ahead.
Will seek out the wisdom of all the ancients.
You see that? So the meditation is in seeking the wisdom of the ancients. That's your sword. You need that. So a lot of times these strongholds can't be broke down because your mind ain't in the right place. You know what I mean? You don't got no sword. You don't got no chisel to chisel at this big ass wall in front of you. Go ahead.
And be occupied in prophecy.
Wait. They're going to be what?
Occupied.
Wait. You got to be occupied in something. It can't be idleness because idleness teaches much evil. So what are you occupied in? What are you occupied in? And there's the key. You want to cast down the imaginations. What are you occupied in? You're idle. You're sitting around not doing nothing. But you want to what? You want to do all things. Right? But you ain't putting your hand to the plow. And what I mean by plow, the plow of what is going to lead you to start breaking down that imagination. You know what I mean? Think about when you do wickedness. When do you do most of your wickedness? In the night. Hidden. Right? So the darkness, he said you do it in the dark where you think nobody can see. Right? You do it when you're hid, when nobody can see. That's not, that right there is the biggest problem. You got to shine light on everything you're doing. Right? You're occupied with nothingness. So, like we tell the brother that was smoking, I was like, you got to go buy those cigarettes. You got to walk to the store. You got to buy the cigarettes. So we were telling them, before you do that, call a brother. But you see, that ain't in the mind. That ain't in brother's thoughts. Well, I got a problem. I got a problem with, honey, I got a problem with running my mouth to you disrespectfully when you try to teach me. What does the scripture say do? Put a bar over your mouth. It says that. It says you got to lock that up. You got to humble your mind. You see, so there's many ways to do this, but what are you occupied in? Where's your head at? Y'all see this? Don't. One thing I hate when people try to come to me and act like the Bible didn't fix them. The Bible didn't work for me. No, you're an idiot. You just don't know how to use the Bible. This book works, but it needs all these essential elements to work. You're unlocking a Pandora's box. It's doing all that stuff, and when it starts unlocking, man, it's a glorious thing because you see it working in your life. So it works. Don't come in with that, man. Yeah, I tried that. It didn't work. No. You went in and you did you added your own element in the council and that threw the whole thing off. You didn't apply it. Or you applied it one time. You know what I mean? A lot of times we get into these talk with brothers and we're like, this would be the best counsel for you and your rib, right? Oh, it's working. But next day, she outthought the counsel from the other day. She got witty, so she come back with some witty damn saying the next day, and it's back to the same thing, because that counsel was supposed to be applied in different variations, and not just how she changes her variation, you got to change your strategy. You know what I mean? Or she's gonna catch you, and you're gonna be like, hold on a second, Shalom, okay, so your mind got to constantly be in the gospel to change with these spirits that be attacking you. Y'all see that? So it got to be meditation, man. You got to be occupied in the prophecies. Read on.
He will keep the sayings of the renowned.
You got to keep the sayings of the scriptures. Meaning, the only way it's going to work for you is if you apply it. Read.
And where subtle parables are, he will be there also.
Yeah, he'll be in those parables. A lot of y'all just need to read Proverbs over and over again because it tells you about everything. Yourself, tells you about people around you. It tells you about all the mind states. You read that, you'll start seeing, damn, I do that. I see that. Damn, I got to look at myself. That's where it's supposed to start. Go ahead.
He will seek out the secrets of the grave sentences.
So are you doing that? Is your mind occupied in seeking out the secrets? Read.
And be conversant in dark parables.
And be conversant in dark parables. What is your conversation about? You see? How do you know a lot about an individual? What they talk about. You're around everybody every day. What are they talking about? You see that? How do we know what's on our ribs' minds? What they're talking about. And what they're not talking about. That's how we know. So, go ahead.
I was going to say, because if you're rolling together and there's this whole length of awkward silence, or this big amount of nobody saying anything, then their mind is idle. They're occupied in nothing.
Yeah, they're occupied in nothing.
I can't think about.
What do you think about? None. What's going on with you?
So, what you thinking about right now?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Where's your head at?
Nowhere.
Nowhere. It's just in limbo, bruh.
You ain't got nothing to say?
Right? No.
Chill.
There's got to be something occupying that space in your brain. So, it got to be the grave sentences. It got to be wisdom. Y'all see that? Y'all believe that?
It goes back to the scripture where it says you can't serve two masters. You're going to love one and hate the other. It's okay, so if you're not occupied in the prophecies and the scriptures and the parables, then anything outside of that is wickedness. So you're entertaining the forces of the principalities and those other things.
And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, you're trying to tell me because nothing is in my head, I'm entertaining wickedness. Yes. It's not that nothing's in your head. It's that you're not meditating on the things that make you something.
Or you don't want to say it because you're going to shine the light on what I'm thinking and show me that it was wicked.
Right.
To begin with.
Right.
So I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, I'm just keep it to myself.
There's different things.
And I know why you laughing, Deshauna, because we know all the game. We know every game Israel got. All the manipulative games. But that don't help nobody. You know what I mean? It don't help you. If you want to grow, you want to cast down these spirits, you got to see the solution. This is the solution. Go ahead.
He shall serve among great men and appear before princes.
Right.
And he will travel through strange countries.
Oh, okay, so that's it on that. Go from there. Another one I like getting when we talk about this topic. What is it? 23? Yeah. 23. Ecclesiasticus 23. And you're going to read verse 1 on down.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 23 and verse 1. O Lord, Father and Governor of all my whole life.
Go ahead.
Lead me not to their counsel.
Go ahead.
And let me not fall by them. Who will set scourges over my thoughts?
So there you go. How do you cast down these imaginations? Well, who's whipping those thoughts in order? It was supposed to be the meditation. It was supposed to be the secrets of the ancients, the wisdom of the Most High. So who's there whipping that thought in order? Right? Why, hold that, jump back to 2 Corinthians, watch. Go back to 2 Corinthians 10 and 4.
2 Corinthians 10 and verse 4.
Go ahead.
For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
Go ahead.
But mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds.
So this is how we pull down the strongholds. Read.
Casting down imagination.
So how do we cast down the imagination? I love the word imagination in here because it shows us that it's fake. It's a facade. It's something you dreamt up. It ain't real. You see that? But how do we cast down those thoughts? What?
By not leaving.
Stand up, please.
By not leaving room for it to pop up.
There you go. By not leaving room. What else? Yeah. Fighting. What else? What?
Meditating on the word.
Meditating on the word. What else? What?
Accepting those scourges.
There you go. Jump back. Jump back. Read. Jump back to 23 and 2.
23 and 2. Who will set scourges over my thoughts?
You need spiritual whips. Whipping those thoughts in order. Like psh, psh, psh. And a lot of times you don't want that. You see? No, I want to think like this right now. I want to indulge myself. But this is how you cast down the imagination. You're not going to be able to cast down those different spirits unless you're in this book. You're using the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You're using all the tools around you to cast those things. What are the tools? It's that brother, woe to him that is left alone. Where 2 or 3 is, there is Christ. Right? Study to show thyself approved. Right? A workman that needeth not to be ashamed. Rightly dividing the word of the Most High. Now that I'm rightly dividing, now I can go through the Bible and rightly get the medicine, what I need. Right? But then you need to what? You need to face yourself. It says you got to examine yourself whether you be in the faith. So I'm doing all these things. Those are the scourges. That's how to get your mind right. Stop believing the lie, the imagination. Come on.
And the discipline of wisdom.
And the what?
Discipline of wisdom.
Why? Why? In Zion voice. Why? Why the discipline of wisdom? Because it takes what to do it? What does it take to cast down these imaginations? Yeah.
Discipline.
It takes discipline. For you to get past, remember, and I'm just naming things. The sister didn't get specific. But if you want to stop being lustful, you got to have enough discipline. So what do? I realized back when I was in my 30s, I was drinking like a damn beast. I was eating so much food. I was this plump, juicy melon, right? Unhealthy, body breaking down, right? In my 30s, right? I had to say what? I got to discipline myself.
I got to cut off. And,
I love it. I love pizza.
But I got to cut off.
I love a number 2 Whataburger. You know what I mean? Large fries with a root beer. I love it. You know what I mean? But that's just the food arena, right?
It got to be spiritually as well. You know what? This isn't feeding my spirit right now. This is putting more demons on me. When I listen to this music, it's getting me more out.
Right.
More out of the spirit.
Right.
You know what I mean? That becomes your second nature. So now what do I have to do? I have to distance myself
from the music.
Right.
See, it's not one thing.
No.
This is applicable to literally all your strongholds. But you have to see that, okay, this got me. I'm excessive in this nature. Right? I'm too much. Pride, lust, doubt, jealousy, hatred, envy, slothfulness. You see that? So this is how you do it. Go ahead.
And the discipline of wisdom.
Right.
Over mine heart.
You see that? It got to be the discipline of wisdom over your mind. I'm going to say it again. You have to know yourself. Examine yourself. Then you can say, damn, I'm weak here. Con, the brother's right. The class is right. Read.
That they spare me not.
That they what?
Spare me not.
See, a lot of people you want us to spare you. You want us to spare your emotions and your feelings. But I'm going to tell y'all something. You look at these brothers and sisters. Let's be real. This Epiphanies, how long did it take to get here? Yeah, now you're in. Now, how many years you've been in the truth?
I knew about it almost 6 or 7 years.
It took her 7 years to finally be like, you know what? Nah. 7 years of she could have been doing garments, fringes, doing things and cooking and learning and sewing. But all that mentality kept her back. It took her 7 years. Now she's like seeing it like, damn, there's a lot of things in my spirit that's been holding me back. Now imagine that's 7 years of your life where you could have been moving in the spirit of the Most High. This is what irritates us. Because we can see a value in a brother or a sister, and they just don't want to listen. And you're like, yeah, but I see it in you. I believe in you. I believe you can fly, right? All that. And you be looking at them like, I ain't hearing that shit. You know what I mean?
And that's why when you look at the scriptures about the man with the talents, and that's why the master, when he came to that man with that one talent, he was so pissed. He called him a wicked and slothful servant. Why? Because he sat up on the one thing he could do. What is that? You can try to have you can have a willing mind. You can show up. You can give a prophet a couple more. You can do all these one thing. That's all you got to do. Show up. Study. When you're in the car, put on the audio Bible. Put the music on. You know what I mean? Instead of talking back and having an excuse, shut the hell up in your mind and be like, you know what, you're right. One thing. But he didn't want to do that, and that's why he called him a wicked and slothful servant.
My question is this. How long is it going to take you before you finally snap and say, damn, I wasted my time. I'm wasting my time occupied in foolishness when I could be using my time in the truth, because that's what I'm here for. What are you here for? You here for to play the little games with your husband? You here for to play the little games with brothers? Right? Play Israelite, play dress up. That's how it is. It's like, brothers and sisters, it'd be like, damn, you can do so much more, but you want to play dress up. You want to play Hebrew instead of being what you are called for. So, back to the point, we're talking about casting down these imaginations and how. It takes discipline. It takes wisdom. It takes somebody not sparing you and checking those things in you. And you doing what? Ecclesiasticus 6. You don't have to go there because we always go there. It says you bowing your ear. You putting yourself in the fetters, the chains of the wisdom, to where they become jewels and gold.
Right, because the fetter, that's what they use to lock a prisoner up with. But instead of it being an inmate lockup, now it's a beautified chain.
Yep.
Instead of it being handcuffs, it's a beautiful bracelet.
Right. You was just,
Oh, and I was just gonna say, like, being in those fetters and chains, like, once you get to it and accept it, she becomes a defense to you, so you're able to fight off all these stuff.
yeah, they become the Wonder Woman armbands. Ping, 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 ping. But cats don't look at them like that. At first, they're like, nah, y'all restraining me. Why y'all trying to control me? Y'all trying to change me. But you literally came in ready to be born again. You got to be changed. So, read on. Come on.
That they spare me not for my ignorance.
And that was the point, right? That you're, watch, read on.
And it passed not by my sin.
You see, read.
Least my ignorances increase.
That's how you got to cast down these imaginations. You got to start putting wisdom there. You got to start putting the knowledge there. You got to get your head in the right place, right? You got to get your mind in the right place, because if not, your ignorance is increase, and what?
And my sins abound to my destruction.
So you're supposed to be moving in the spirit, but what happened? Now you're messing up so much. When you do smoke that cigarette, you know it's wrong, because what happens after you puff it, right? For some reason, you come to class, and then the next time you get in class, because you got to hide at least a day or two, right? After you smoke, you got to hide.
No, you ain't coming to the next class. You don't come to the next.
Unless you're real good, unless you know how to cover it up. You know what I mean? But what happens is, if you don't, my point was on here, at least my ignorance is increased and my sins, oh right, your sins abounding. They can't gain momentum. You can't keep letting them gain momentum, because it will crush your sincerity. It crushes your zeal. Yeah, it crushes your zeal, your desire. So that's why you can't let your sins keep abounding, because they'll destroy you. You see, but how do we stop this? How do we start breaking down those strongholds, man, till they one level bricks? We got to be on top of ourselves. We got to know ourselves. We got to use the tools, right? We got to get in the book. That's the only way. Come on.
And I fall before mine adversary.
You see, that's the devil, seeking whom he may devour, right? I fall before my adversaries, the ones that least expect it. You know what I mean? All the family members, the ones that do expect it. All the family members that did what? They told you, man, you over there with those cats, you know what I mean? They ain't doing nothing for you. That book ain't doing nothing for you. But now it is doing something because you're applying it. Read.
And my enemy rejoice over me.
Read on.
Whose hope is far from thy mercy.
Read.
O Lord, Father, and power of my life.
Go ahead.
Give me not a proud look.
See? What it go back to? You can't break down the walls if you don't want to listen. You don't want to apply. That pride. That's what he said. Please don't give me that proud look. Go ahead.
But turn away from thy servants always a haughty mind.
You see that? Read.
Turn, verse 6. No, 5.
Go ahead.
Turn away from me vain hope.
Now, this is why I love this, and I know it goes right with Corinthians 10 and 4, because what did it say about these imaginations? All these, they are that. Imaginations, vain hopes, fake belief. It's telling you something that you're not. And that's where whatever battle, whatever thing that's holding you back, that's really what it is. You're putting your energy into the flesh, into these carnal things that are vain, that are fake, that are unprofitable spiritually, and physically, because eventually the carnal aspect will be destroyed too. But it's vain. So he's like, man, I don't want to get in this mind. Go ahead.
And concupiscence, and thou shalt hold him up.
Right. The concupiscence is that lust. Right? That deep lust. Go ahead.
And thou shalt hold him up.
Read.
That is delirious always to serve thee.
You see? So this goes back to what? Psalms 51, where he says, thou desires not sacrifice, else will I give it. The sacrifice of the Most High, a broken spirit and a contrite mind. So that's the way you're going to break these things down. You're going to destroy these strongholds, man. Then we can go into the specific classes on how. You know what I mean? What is lust? How do you fight against it? What is pride? How do you fight against it? Because those are the strongholds, right? What is doubt? How do you fight against it? What is a lack of faith? How do you fight against it? You see? And then little by little, each one is a brick. You go through with the wisdom and start breaking that down. Pow, 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 pow. I'm not doubtful no more. I know what the Most High requires. Right? Lust. Oh, pow, pow, break it down. You're doing all the things to break these things down in front of you. Right? So go back to 2 Corinthians. Let's finish that. Verse 5.
2 Corinthians 10 and verse 5. Casting down imagination.
Right?
And every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God.
Right. So you're casting down everything that exalts itself against the knowledge of the Most High. So what has to be there then? In order for you to equate the thing that is against the Lord, what do you have to have on the other pendulum? What?
Precepts.
You have to have precepts. You gotta have the word. So I know y'all know this, but for question's sake, go to 2 Timothy 2 verse 15. For question's sake, for precept's sake, go to 2 Timothy 2:15. Read that.
2 Timothy 2 and verse 15.
Go ahead.
Study to show thyself approved.
Thyself. You know what I mean? It's like when you take brothers over the flyers and they realize that they can't break down Revelation 1:1. Then they look at themselves like, damn, you supposed to say what? I'm not approved. I ain't been studying. Right? When your husband texts you and says, there you go again, with that damn mouth, you're supposed to be saying, damn, once again, I'm not checking myself ahead of time. Because if I was checking myself ahead of time, these precepts would be giving me the wisdom, the fortitude, the stability before anybody had to tell me. You see that? You would be already prepared. But now why do you need to be told? Because you ain't studying. That's why it says there's be some weak and sickly among you. And Paul says, man, y'all need to go eat at home. He said, you come eat the Lord's Supper, you eat that, you eat amongst us, you get full and fat. But then you go right home and what? You ain't eating. You ain't partaking in this bread. Right? Hold that, go to Proverbs 15. You got it? Proverbs 15:20.
So we're understanding to study to show thyself approved. Why? Because anything outside of that, read where you're at. It's going to give you the answer. Proverbs chapter 15, verse 28. Sir.
Proverbs 15 and 28. The heart of the righteous.
So what's the opposite of righteous? Anybody? Corrupts up?
Wickedness.
Whoa. So we're trying to study to be righteous. You're studying to try to get these devils off of you. Satan cannot cast out Satan. That's in the Gospels. So the mind of a righteous, what does he do?
Study it to answer.
Study it to what?
Answer.
Because you don't know it. That's why you have to study. So there's nothing wrong with you studying to get this answer because you don't know it. That's the whole reason why you're in here to begin with. Read on.
But the mouth of the wicked.
Because this is the opposite if you don't study. The mouth of a wicked does what?
Pours out evil things.
Because you're going to just start spewing out demonic sayings, demonic things and actions. Why? Because you haven't studied to do the right thing. That was it.
Yeah, you don't have the armor, you don't have the tools, you don't have the utensils. 2 Timothy, go back. 2 Timothy 2:15.
2 Timothy 2:15.
Uh-huh.
Study to show thyself approved unto the Most High.
Go ahead.
A workman that needed not to be ashamed.
So, the question is this. When do you, brothers and sisters, when do we become ashamed? When do we become ashamed? What?
When we're not studying to answer.
Well, we don't study to answer. When do we become ashamed? You're right, but when do we become ashamed? When you don't have the knowledge to battle against what your weakness is. Right? Then you look in the mirror after you do the sin and say, man, you're garbage. Then you just put your head down like, damn, I did it again. I messed up again. Because you didn't have the scourges, you didn't have the tools, the utensils, you didn't apply them. So the Most High gives us all these things to win. He gives us all these things to win. There is no excuse not to be winning. You understand? So if we're not winning, what is the problem? You're not applying some of the weapons. You're not applying some of the tools. That's when we become ashamed. When we lose at that battle. When Satan gets the advantage. I'm going to say it again. This is just us telling you the basic principles on what it is to break down and cast down these imagination and strongholds. But then you can get the classes on what literally is your stronghold. Because everybody got different things on different levels. Then you can say, well, how do I beat this? How do I beat that? You see that? But this is the principle of the matter. That you need the tools. You can't reject the tools. Because if you do, you're going to be ashamed. Y'all get that, right? Go ahead.
Rightly dividing the word of truth.
Right. Rightly dividing the word of truth. You see all these cats making excuses for themselves to keep doing negative, to keep doing sin. That's not rightly dividing the word of truth. That don't help nobody. Go ahead.
But sure, profane.
That's it on that. So, yeah. Yeah, that is... What else did she say on her question?
No,
that was it? So, you know, this is what it is, man, on dealing with these strongholds. That's the beginning of it. You got to start there. A willing mind and having the tools. Staying in the book. I know I could have just said that from the beginning, but... Right. What do we got any other questions on there? Okay, we got 12 more minutes, y'all. Anybody got any other questions? What? Go there. Let's go to that scripture. So, what does the Bible, let me say it for everybody online. What does the Bible mean when what does it mean when the Bible says we will be like unto angels, not giving into marriage or having wives? I'm paraphrasing. All right, so let's go to there. That's Matthew's, right? I want to see, was that sufficient for the sister, or did she have any other questions on that also, what we just touched on? Anything on there? No? Okay. All right. So let's answer this other question. It's like Matthew's.
Chapter 22 verse.
I was gonna. Go ahead.
Yeah, 29 and 30.
Matthew's 22, 29, 30.
Chapter 22, verse 29 and verse 30.
Right. Now, two things here. As we get into this, let's go into it first. Matthew's 22, You're going to start at verse 23.
Matthew chapter 22 and verse 23.
Uh-huh.
The self-same day came to him the Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection.
Right.
And asked him, saying, Master, Moses said.
Right, so there is no resurrection. So this is the context of this question, that there's no resurrection, according to the Sadducees, right? They didn't believe that when you died, they didn't believe that you was going to come back and be reanimated back to life. Right? They didn't believe that there was no regeneration. They didn't believe none of that. Like your spirit exists after this. They didn't believe that. Y'all know that, right? Yeah, that's what the Sadducees. They didn't believe. There was a sect of Israel that didn't believe in resurrection or the spirit. The spirit being after death. Right? Go ahead.
Saying, Master, Moses said, if a man die,
right,
having no children, his brother shall marry his wife.
Right. So, what was the Pharisees and Sadducees always doing with Christ? Yeah.
Trying to catch him up in the law.
Yeah. They're garbage. They trying to catch him in the law. They was trying to always create debate. Create that type of dialogue with Christ, right? So this is where they bring out the law and how Moses said in the law, go ahead.
Said, if a man die having no children,
right,
his brother shall marry his wife.
Right. So if a man dies, so let's imagine that we're all brothers here, right? Actually blood brothers. In the law it tells you, let's say it's his wife, right, first. He dies, then the next brother is supposed to bring an heir to, he dies with no son. The next brother is supposed to say, hey, listen, I'm going to take on the duty, and the child is to be had will be in the name of this brother. You see that? So that's what my job would be. But that happened 7 brothers. We're going to find out. Okay? So, once again, they try to do what? They try to play games with Christ. They're trying to catch him up in the law. Right? But there's something in here that everybody got to realize. Yahweh Shai catches them up. He catches them up because he doesn't even answer the question fully to what they want to know. And he did that a lot of times when dealing with the Pharisees to get them thinking. As opposed, you think you're trying to play game on me, I'm going to give you something to think about. And we're going to find out why I'm saying that, because the scripture's going to show us. Go ahead.
And raised up seed unto his brother.
So, go ahead.
Now, there were with us 7 brethren.
Like, think about what's your point in saying this, right? Read.
And the first, when he had married a wife,
right,
deceased, and having no issue, left his wife unto his brother.
Right.
Likewise, the second also.
Right. So you see what's going on here? So they're saying, yeah. So they're saying this: if you believe so much in the Spirit coming back, right, and being resurrected.
Oh,
which brother
would the Spirit be in?
Who's gonna be marry this woman? Watch, he's gonna tell us. Go ahead.
Likewise, the second also, and the third,
right,
unto the 7th,
right, unto the 7th. Read.
And last of all, the woman died also.
Right.
Therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be of the 7th?
Right. Now, they're asking about the resurrection in the end. Christ doesn't answer it that way. He doesn't, because when we resurrect in the end, there's a few different elements in here that we are going to partake in. When we resurrect and come back, the scriptures say in those days, and we're going to get it, because I know REI probably already got it in Isaiah, and they're already on it, you know what I mean, showing that we're going to be having sex and marriage and women in the kingdom. So I want to make that clear that the way he's answering the question is not the way what they asked. He was throwing them for a loop. Watch, read on.
Therefore, in the resurrection,
right,
whose wife shall she be of the seven?
Go ahead.
For they all have it.
Right, so that's dumb, right? That's dumb. You know when your spirit dies, everything is new. Nobody's going to be coming back and looking for their spouse in the resurrection. Right? Nobody's going to be doing that. But they're doing what? They're trying to catch Christ by saying, oh, you believe so much in the spirit, so then whose spirit is going to be connected to this soul, right? That's what they're doing to Christ. Go ahead.
Yahweh Shai answered and said unto them,
go ahead.
You do err, not knowing the scriptures.
Go ahead.
Nor the power of the Most High.
Go ahead.
For in the resurrection, they're neither married nor given in marriage.
Go ahead.
But are as the angels of the Most High in heaven.
So, what resurrection did he tell them about? When is it that we're like angels in heaven and don't marry or give in marriage? When we die. So he didn't answer the question according to the in resurrection.
He answered according to now.
He answered it according to death when you go to the Most High. So instead of them playing him for a loop, he played them for a loop by telling them, no, nobody's marrying. Because think about it. When we come back in the resurrection, in the end times, and we're animated, he brings us back into the kingdom. Is he saying that nobody's going to be married?
No.
How do we know? Watch, go to Isaiah, where we at? Yeah, it's there you go. Go to Isaiah 60 and read 21 and 22.
Isaiah.
You know what? Start like this. Go to Isaiah 4:1, then we'll go to Isaiah 60 and 22. You hit it right on point. Go to Isaiah 4:1, then we'll go. This is how we know in the kingdom, he wasn't talking about when we come into our kingdom. He had to be talking about when they go to heaven or the spiritual realm, right? Because when we go to the spiritual realm, we are as the angels, and we don't marry and we don't give in marriage. You see that? That's the way he answered that question. He didn't answer it according to the resurrection of the end days where we're all going to be reanimated back to the Creator. All right, watch, read.
Isaiah 4, chapter 4, verse 1.
Go ahead.
And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man.
Right, in what day? Going into the kingdom, into the new kingdom, on the way from the destruction leading into the kingdom of Christ, it said women are going to be running up to us. 7 women going to run up to one man saying what?
We will eat our own bread. And wear our own apparel.
Right.
Only let us be called by thy name.
So going into the new kingdom, there's going to be, what do you think they're going to be all just saying, you know, we want to be called by your name? He's not going to wife none of them? No, he's telling you that those women are going to become, 7 women is going to take hold of one man. In the kingdom, we're going to be having children, marrying. How do we know? If that wasn't clear, go to Isaiah 60 and 21.
Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 21.
Go ahead.
Thy people also shall be all righteous.
Right. So this is in the kingdom. Once again, go ahead.
They shall inherit the land forever.
Go ahead.
The branch of my planting.
Go ahead.
The work of my hands. That I may be glorified.
Read.
A little one shall become 1,000.
So stop. So is there going to be sexual relations in the kingdom of heaven? If a small household is 1,000, right? You be like, man, this cat got 1,000 kids. What's wrong with him? They all right over there? Well, how are you going to have 1,000 kids? Not from no one woman. By 7 women taking hold of 1 man and more. 7 is just a number of completion. So going back to what Christ was saying, that don't go according to the scriptures. If you're thinking, oh, in the new kingdom, we're not going to have sex and marry. No, he was talking about in the spiritual realm where the Father dwells. When you die, right, and you go to the Father, you neither marry nor are given in marriage. Y'all get that? Okay. So the thing is how he answered the question according to what they're asked. That has to be clarified. How do we know? Because it would be contradictory to scriptures if he was saying we don't marry, we're not going to get no wives, right? So he wasn't talking about the physical kingdom here on earth. He was talking about the spiritual realm in heaven. All right, which they're not thinking about marriage in the spiritual realm. That's just not what they do up there. They're in front of the Most High. They're not worried about sex and marriage and all those things. So hopefully that edified the brother Jaquan. All right. So any other questions? Finishing it out. Wait, say that again?
Verses to keep me and my children safe from their father's abuse on me, his narcissistic behavior. I need space now that I've gotten away from him. My spirit is broken from years of abuse.
If you're in an abusive relationship and you got a man hitting on you, you got a man abusing you, beating you up, stomping you out, breaking your jaw, you know what I mean? Yeah, you got to get out of that. Whooping you. What else? Because I'm hoping when whoever asks that, they understand of that abuse.
Yeah, she's saying she got away with it. She just needs verses on how to get over that.
Where you want to start from? Let's go to self-heal, man. I gotta go, and I would be a liar if I didn't tell you straight out. To self-heal, you gotta forgive. You gotta forgive him. You gotta let it go. You know what I mean? You gotta let it go. He's gone. But now for you to realize that, okay, I'm not gonna let that linger over my spirit. You gotta do what the scriptures say. Where are we at?
Ecclesiasticus 28 and verse 2.
Go to Ecclesiastes 28 and 1. That's the only way. You did the right thing. If somebody is abusive, harmful, hurting you, the scriptures say the Most High is not with that. And it says, separate yourself from unbelievers. Right? So you did a good thing. But now, spiritually, the only way you're going to heal your mind is following the scriptures. Or else what's going to happen is it's going to linger. Your anger, your resentment is going to linger. Before we go there, go to Philippians 3:13. Let's go to our famous. Go to Philippians 3 and 13 first.
Philippians chapter 3 and verse 13. Brother, I count not myself to have apprehended. But this one thing I do.
Go ahead.
Forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before.
Yeah. So that's what you have to start with. You have to start with, I can't let that spirit of hatred, anger, bitterness circulate in my household. And then I start teaching that to the kids. When you got men like that, that's abusive, you got to see that they err. They're off. They're out of the way. They gone. So you gotta wait. You stop dealing with them. But at the same time, the residuals are affected. If it's continually affecting your mind, that abuse is still there. So you're asking the right question. How do I get past that? You got to get past it spiritually, mentally, which is forgetting the things that are past. Don't go teaching your kids, especially if they're his kids. Don't do that, because all you got to do is get the kids to further hate their father. That's not productive, because down the road he probably can change. He probably can see his error of his way. So don't let that resonate in your household. All right, go to read the Ecclesiastes 28:1.
This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 28 and verse 1.
Well,
he that revenges.
Hold on 1 second. Go to Ecclesiastes 30 and 21 first. And then we're going to jump there.
This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 30 and verse 21.
Hold on. Wait till everybody get it. This cat's coming with the right ones, right on time. Read that.
Give not over thy mind to heaviness.
There it is. You got to forget the things of the past. You can't give your mind over to that heaviness. Because what is that going to do inside you? Come on, we all know. You had a bad husband. You had a bad relationship. What do? You become a man-hater. Right? You become you become a woman hater. All women are garbage. It's not that. The wicked men are trash and the wicked women are trash. Because they didn't do the things that they were supposed to do. Right? And I'll say it again. A lot of them don't know. They fell victim to the game. Right? I'm talking about to the white man's game. To Esau. To this kingdom. So you gotta see this. You can't give your mind over to that heaviness. You got to let it go. Let all those things from the past go and look forward. Go ahead.
And afflict not thyself in thine own counsel.
Yeah, you can't afflict yourself in your own mind and let resentments and grudging start to marinate in your spirit. Go ahead.
The gladness of the heart is the life of man.
Right. So this is how you got to move forward. You got to move forward in the gladness. Say, you know what? I'm still alive. I got the truth. I know what I need to be teaching myself and my children. And let me move forward in the right mind and right spirit. Go ahead.
And the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days. Love thine own soul.
Right.
And comfort thy heart.
Right. So now it's time to comfort yourself. Now it's time to comfort yourself from those thoughts. The negativity, the abuse, the issues, the problems, right? It's time to do that now. Go ahead.
Remove sorrow far from thee.
Go ahead.
For sorrow hath killed many, and there is no profit therein. Envy and wrath shorten the life.
Right, you see that? It says what?
Envy and wrath shorten the life.
I want you to read it one more time for the church.
Envy and wrath shorten the life.
Now y'all see why I held off Ecclesiasticus. Envy and wrath shortens life. So when he said in Philippians 3:13, you got to let it all go. You got to let it go. Because that negativity is just going to make you the same person you dislike. Right? We got bruh, we got brothers, and I'm not gonna say no names, but I'm definitely gonna use these stories. The woman hates him so much, she goes to the house, call. I don't know why they all got to the front door, but mom, the daughter, him get to the front door, and she damn pepper sprays everybody. Yeah. Oh, come on. That's that demonic black woman. Right? But you got men like that. Listen, they'll kill you. How many you looking at? I've been looking at my little news and World Star, and these cats, they meet up with their exes, talk about let's talk, and what? Shoot them right in the face. Yeah. So you got to see that envy and wrath is not going to do it. Bitterness is not going to do it. Right? You becoming a man, woman, a man hater or woman hater, that's not going to do it. That's going to shorten your life. Read.
And carefulness bringeth age before the time.
And that's talking about anxiety. That anxiety, that's going to bring age before its time. Go ahead.
A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat.
Right, that's it on that. So go from there. Now go to Ecclesiastes 28.
This is Ecclesiasticus, chapter 28 and verse 1. He that revengeth shall find vengeance from the Lord.
He that what?
That revengeth shall find vengeance from the Lord.
So this is what you don't want to reside in you. That spirit of vengeance, the spirit of hatred. In the law, it tells you, don't bear a grudge against your brother. But he did me dirty. Con. Esau did you dirty too, but you go and kiss his ass. You go to work. You know what I mean? You got to know, our people fall victim, man. You know what I mean? They fall victim to the game. We got to deal with it in the right way. Go ahead.
And he will surely keep his sins in remembrance.
So that's how the Most High is going to deal with you when you don't forgive. So you got to let it go. You got to forgive. But we forgive with wisdom. You're a maniac. I forgive you, but I can't be around you because you're abusive, right? And when I'm hoping when she says abusive, it's not just like he verbally hit me or talked down to me. I'm talking about abusive. He was beating you up. You know what I mean? He was hurting you physically, dealing with the kids wrong. You know what I mean? That's the abuse that you don't have to partake in. Right? Go ahead, read on.
Forgive thy neighbor.
Do what?
Forgive thy neighbor.
Read.
The hurt that he hath done unto thee.
Go ahead.
So shall thy sins also be forgiven when thou prayest.
So that's how you get past that. You gotta forgive, you gotta let go, and just move on. He's gone. You know what I mean? Don't let the bitterness make you him. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna be just like that. Right. So and you know, we can keep going another 2 or 3 hours on that point, but hopefully I'm hoping that right there kind of sets your mind right when dealing with this. All right.
He said, after 3 years of dealing with him, I understand forgiveness first. And no, sir, he was beating me for 3 years physically.
Then yeah, that's that terrible husband. All right. What else? Anything else on there?
No, that's left.
Yeah. So. Yeah, protect yourself. Be careful when you deal with cats like that, because that anger, somebody that's like that, you know what I mean? They you know what I mean? If they're those type of abusive cats, they'll show up at your job. You ain't leaving me. If I'm going, you gotta go, right? You gotta be careful with that. All right. Is there any other questions on there?
No.
All right, man, y'all. Good questions. Good questions. Anybody got anything in here? La. Can I hear it? La. All right. if y'all do, Thursday we will be here, Lord willing. Y'all can bring them back then, all right? So say shalom to everybody online. Shalom. We'll see y'all in the next one.
Six chair, Judah,
Judah, Judah, Judah, Judah, Judah, Judah, Judah, Judah, Judah, Judah, Judah, Judah, Judah, Judah, Judah. The scepter will never leave Judah. The scepter will never leave Judah. The scepter will never leave Judah. I'm Judah. Christ sprang out of Judah. King David was Judah. King Asa was Judah. Don't crowd me up, who gon' rouse me up? Alistair Crowley, your time is up. It's a big mess, I gotta clean it up. Esau, the end of my kingdom's up. On the eagle's neck, I'll press. I woke up from my rest. I woke up from my arrest. My rulership is up next. No vex. Judah, 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 Judah.